During part 1 of my do-it-yourself duct cleaning series, I used a homemade air whip and duct vacuum to help clean out some HVAC ductwork. But the air hose I used with the whip was too flexible and would curl up easily when trying to push it through segments of ductwork longer than 10 feet. I zip-tied the air hose to a drain snake for support and it worked, but I had to be very careful not to damage the ductwork or snag the drain snake on anything. I didn't dare use it inside the flexible plastic ducting. A stiffer leader hose is needed for the air whip, so now in part 4, I'm going to assemble that hose from a few items purchased at a local hardware store. A 25-foot length of polyethylene tubing with an inside diameter of 3/8 of an inch was my choice for the leader hose. It has a maximum rated pressure of only 100 psi at 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius, but that's about as high as I plan to go anyway. It only cost me about $8. A standard ball valve with a 1/4 inch NTP inlet and outlet was picked up from the plumbing department for around $10. I'll use this 1/4 inch quick connect plug to link the ball valve to the supply hose. These 3/8 inch inside diameter hose barbs have 1/4 inch NTP threads and will be used on the ends of the leader hose. They were about $3 each. The barbs will be clamped to the hose using these 7/32 to 5/8 inch hose clamps. Some Teflon tape will help seal the threads. And I'm going to need a tennis ball. This old one will do. I start by wrapping the threaded end of the coupler plug with Teflon tape, about 3 to 4 layers. Then it's installed into the ball valve like so. The same thing is done with one of the barb fittings. After both fittings are threaded into the valve body, I carefully tighten them with a wrench. Over-tightening them could split the valve body. The polyethylene hose came tightly coiled up and will need to be straightened. Bending it back against its original curve like so worked well for me. But it kinda needed to be done in 2 stages to help prevent kinking the hose on accident. I let it rest over 24 hours in a warm room before the second attempt to straighten it. Care was taken not to kink the hose, although I did bend it against its natural curve as much as I could. And it worked for the most part. A little wavy, but should be fine. Time to attach the ball valve. A hose clamp was put on first, and then the valve assembly was installed like so. After sliding the clamp into position, I tighten it. The other 3/8 inch inside diameter barb fitting goes on the other end of the hose. Takes a bit of force, but it fits. The clamp goes on and is tightened. This clamp by the valve handle needs to be rotated so that it's not in the way of my hand when operating the valve. The clamp on the other end of the hose will be hidden under this tennis ball. I cut an X in one side of the ball and then another on the opposite side. The whip end of the hose is now inserted through the cuts in the tennis ball, only until enough threads stick out the other side to attach the whip. I'm hoping this will prevent the clamp from snagging on anything inside the ductwork, especially the flexible plastic ductwork. That clamp could easily rip a hole in the flexible foil or plastic ducting. The leader hose is now complete, so I install a whip and it's time for some testing. Sure is a lot stiffer than the shop hose I used in part 1. I'm pleased to see that the polyethylene hose stayed straight. It was pretty tightly coiled up when I bought it. I'm only going to loop it twice now for transportation and storage. I try to keep the whip end pretty straight. Okay, let's see how it handles a supply pressure of 100 psi. Seems okay to me. But the next test is the one I've been waiting for. My goal is to push the whip through a 20-foot section of ductwork in a single sweep. since the hose is easier to push through the ductwork when the whip is active. I'll leave the air off for this test to make it harder. So far it's not coiling up. I need to jog it back and forth a bit, but it seems to be working. I'm pleased. Made it all the way through the 20-foot section with a few feet left to spare. Well, now I have my leader hose, and I like it so far. I've got my homemade duct whips that we built in part 2. Got the do-it-yourself duct vacuum that was assembled in part 3 to suck out the dust and debris that the whip stirs up. However, there is yet another tool I need. A residue stuck on the bottom of certain segments of ductwork is going to be tough to remove, and I think will require something different than my plastic duct whips. Maybe a rotary brush of some kind. A common 4-inch rotary brush kit like this one may work okay, but I'm not confident that it would produce the results I want. I wonder if an effective do-it-yourself rotary brush can be made using small cable for the bristles. Might be worth a try. Maybe brushes like these can be integrated into a new homemade duct whip design. Don't know, but I'll figure something out. And in part 5 of my do-it-yourself duct cleaning series, I'll share what I learn. Thanks for watching.